What's up, Lorehounds? We are checking out another board game, but actually now it's a video game. It's coming from Handelabra Games. This is Jeremy Handel, the man behind Handelabra Games. He is the president. So what's going on here? We know you're actually licensing this IP from Greater Than Games, correct?
That's right. So the company made Sentinels of the Multiverse in 2011, and we fell in love with the game almost instantly. We met them a month after the card game was released at a PAX, actually, at PAX Prime in 2011. Fell in love with it, and we hounded them for 2 years. What you see here is one villain versus a team of heroes, okay? This is Legacy, Bunker, the Wraith, and Tachyon, and they're working together to try and defeat Baron Blade. But over here, in Vengeance, now the villains are teaming up. And so this is what we're going to be building next, is a team versus team mechanic. So you got 5 heroes versus 5 villains at the same time, which is a lot of extra work to try and build it all together, and so that's why it's up on Kickstarter now, because it's a bigger project than we've done so far.
Far more complex when you're talking that many, champions and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You want me to show you a little bit about how it plays?
Yeah, totally. Let's dive in.
So just like on the tabletop, a turn progresses through 3 phases. You play a card, you use a power, then you draw a card. So Legacy here, we'll play a card, we'll start with Backfist Strike. This is a one-shot, which deals some damage, deals melee damage. We can't actually hit Baron Blade because he has a mobile defense platform out, so we're going to want to hit that first. Usually this is what you're going to have to do with a lot of villains, is clear the field and then go after the villain themselves. Then you use a power. Each hero has an inherent power right on their character card, but you can always get more cards into play to give you more options of powers to use on future turns. This game is a lot about getting set up and then really letting loose. Because usually, if you think about it from a comic book story perspective, the villain starts something and the heroes are usually sort of caught unawares, like, oh no, the villain, we gotta go stop him. And so that's sort of thematic in this game, is that you have to spend a few turns sort of getting ready to actually do what you need to do. So we're going to use Legacy's power, it's called Galvanize. Now all of his teammates will do 1 additional point of damage throughout the rest of their turns. Then you draw a card, and then you move on to the next turn. I'm going to sort of blast through this pretty quick so that you can get to see how the environment and the villain work. So play a card, use a power, deal some damage. This is Bunker. He's a man in a suit, not a robot, as a lot of people tend to think. Draw a card. Now we come to the Wraith. People say that the Wraith is kind of the Batman of our universe. She's all about gadgets. She's got her utility belt, all kinds of stuff that she can use to keep the villain guessing. So we're going to destroy that mobile defense platform. Now that that's gone, goes to 0, gets discarded. Now we can actually go after Baron Blade himself. So we'll hit Baron Blade for some damage, and then we'll go after his minion, the Blade Battalion. We'll hit him for some damage too. Draw a card, and then we'll move on to Tachyon's turn. She's the quickest woman on Earth. Her deck is all about cycling through it as fast as possible, because she's like kind of like the Flash. So we're going to deal some damage, deal some more damage. And then she actually drew a card here that lets her draw an extra card on her draw phase. So she's actually going to draw 2 cards now. 1 and 2. And then we're going to move on. One of the things that's unique about Sentinels is that the environment takes an active role in the game. We're playing an Insula Primalis, which means dinosaurs. The dinosaurs don't care if you're a good guy or a bad guy, they're just hungry. So they go after, the Velociraptor goes after the lowest hit point target, which happens to be a villain target this time. But now that that's gone, if it was going to go all the way around to the Velociraptors again, they're going to go after one of us because we have the lowest hit points. They smell blood and that's what they go for, and that's about it. For instance, there's a villain called the Dreamer, who's a 6-year-old girl who's a psychic. You actually don't want to kill the Dreamer. What you want to do is you want to wake her up because her manifestations are what's causing trouble. So if you actually hurt the Dreamer, you lose. And so each villain has their own challenge, and you have to figure out as a team how to take down that challenge and actually win the game.
All right, so how are you guys monetizing this then? Because if all those expansions have already been out on the cardboard in the physical world already, are you guys releasing them as sets over on Steam and stuff?
Exactly. So the core game itself is $10, and like I said, that comes with 10 heroes, 4 villains, 4 environments, and that is almost, I think it's actually over 9,000 possible setups with just that initial group. But then each of the expansions is available either on its own, but then we also bundle them together in what we called Season 1 and now obviously Season 2 as well. And that gives you a bit of a discount if you buy everything together all at once.
We know Season 2 is coming to Kickstarter. What do you guys have for some of your stretch goal ideas?
Yeah, so we're trying to raise 80,000, and in the first week we've already raised 46. So we're on a good track, which means I think we are going to get to some stretch goals, and we have some really good ones in mind. We actually pre-announced the very first one, which is that when we hit funding, we're going to give every single backer a free copy copy of one of the Season 2 soundtracks, which is usually between $5 and $10, depending on how much music we create for the individual expansions. So that's one of them. Some of the other stretch goals that we're hoping for are mostly features that have been requested from the community. You know, the game itself has a lot of setups. You can randomize, you can play things, but people have always asked, we want to know more about the story of this world. We want to hear, you know, how did this villain end up at this battle, and then how did they get defeated and all the rest of it. So there might be a story campaign in there if people can actually help us get over that 80 and then keep going.
All right, lore hounds. I mean, that's literally up our alley, so we should see if we can help them out so we can get some more lore and backstory for the game. So, you know, the $1 million question ends up being, when do we think Season 2 will actually be launched?
If we can get our Kickstarter funded, we are going to be ready to start development right away on May 13th when the Kickstarter closes. And we would expect, given that we now know how to do this pretty well, yes, obviously there's some new challenges and the new features, but we expect to start delivering content sometime late summer, early fall. And hopefully we'd have the entire thing finished by early to middle of next year.
All right, Sentinels of the Multiverse Season 2, maybe early next year. Thanks so much, Jerry.
Thanks a lot.